Hi everyone, welcome back to my tutorials. Today we are looking at a prime game. Is it prime game? So it's going to give you a question. Hello, is my number prime? And you can click yes or no. 12 is not prime, and it says correct. This is a very simple version or a very simple alternative to the prime generator game. So the prime generator game you can find in a other video, which I'll link below. This one is a simpler video for perhaps when you're just learning about primes. It's a great game to play with your students. So let's get to it. Let's figure out how to make this game. Right, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a nice backdrop. Now, this one, like I say, is a very simple one. I would probably do this with younger students. We're going to choose a backdrop, and it doesn't really matter what we choose. I'm going to choose the beach. So once you've got your beach backdrop, if you convert it to vector, you can add some text on top. So we can click yes, and we can make that a little bit bigger. And we can copy and paste and have one that says no. Make sure it is on the not on the bitmap, because bitmap doesn't work as easily. So I've got yes and no. Now you wouldn't have to write them on here. You could do it on the actual buttons themselves, but I'm just making it as easy as possible. I've added some text in. I might even change the color of one of them. So no is the traditional kind of red color, and yes is a traditional green color, known for green means go and all of that. Okay. Once we've done that, we are then going to go on to the code. And we're going to go to variables. And we're going to make sure, I think we'll choose Scratchcat. And we're going to click variables. We're going to click make a variable. And the variable is going to be called number. Leave everything else the same. Then we're going to have to create a list. And you'll see down here it says make a list. And when we click on the list, we're going to call this primes. And again, you can do this for anything, actually. You could create it for times tables, for example, that they have to list all the numbers in the 9 times table. So once we've got the primes, we then need to go through and create them. So you click the little plus down here, then you press enter to create a new line. And we're going to fill in all of the primes up to maybe 50. Okay, once we've got our primes and we've got our list added, then what we can actually do is we can hide that list. So we can click the little tick and the primes will go away. We also might want to hide the number 2 just off the screen by ticking it so that we can't see it. Though sometimes you might want those numbers on while you're testing, just to check that it's working. Okay, next we need to create 2 button sprites. So I'm just going to go down to buttons here. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I'm going to create that button, and then I'm going to go choose the same button, but I'm going to then go to costumes, and I'm going to change the color. Now, when you're playing around with the color, you've got to make sure that you don't affect the nice shading that it has going on. All right, so we have our 2 buttons, and I can actually change the size of the buttons if I want to make them a little bit smaller. Okay, so onto the code. First of all, on the main sprite code screen, so our Scratchcat, we are going to have when flag is clicked, and we are going to say hello for 2 seconds. And then we want to set the number. So this is the number that we're going to ask. And we're going to pick a random number from 1 to 50. And we're going to say, is this number prime? Is my number prime? And then we're going to say that number for 2 seconds. So let's try that out now. Hello. It's going to choose a number. 38 is my number prime 38. So that code works. And we're also going to get him to the Scratchcat to say well done if you get it right. So we're going to broadcast. And I'll show you that again. We're going to click this when I receive. and we're going to choose a new message and type correct. And we're going to do the same. We're going to get a new message and turn it as incorrect. Okay, so when you receive correct, you're going to have him say, well done. But if he gets it incorrect, you can say, oh, no, that is not prime. Not correct. Let's keep it like that. No, that is not correct. So then we go to our buttons and what we're going to say. So when this sprite clicked, that's our event. So we'll zoom in a little bit. Here we go. When this sprite clicked, this is the yes button. When this sprite clicked, if, we want an if else, if, and we go to the list, and there's all of these extra blocks we have for list. And you'll see one here where it says primes contain something. So this basically is a bit of code which checks if something is in the list. So if the list of primes contains the number, so if primes contains, in this case, 38, well, then it must be a prime. So if they said yes, then they would be correct. So you broadcast correct. Otherwise, they'd broadcast incorrect. Okay, then we're going to drag this code down on top of sprite 2, and it duplicates it. So when we go into this sprite here, this button 2, we've got the same code again. But we just need to do it the other way around this time, because this time they're saying no. So if it does contain a number and they click no, then that means they're wrong. Okay, so we want to change that. Right, let's see if that works. So, hello, let's see what number we get this time. Make this big screen. Is my number prime? 18. So no, it's not prime. So when we click no, it says well done. Good. Now we should always check if we get it wrong too. So let's check. Is my number prime 48? No, that's not. That's 6 times 8. But let's click yes. No, that is not correct. So Scratchcat understands the difference between them. And again, we can hide that number at the top. And there we go. That's it. There's your game. So what can we do with this? Well, first of all, it's a bit annoying having to press green every time. It's a little bit slow asking it each time. Perhaps you could speed that up. You could have a timer, so you could try and get as many primes in a row. Perhaps if you got one incorrect, then you would lose points and you could have a scoring system. There's loads of things that you can expand on this. You can change it so it's prime numbers from 1 to 100. You could expand it so it's 9 times table. But the process is the same, creating a list with all of the prime numbers in, which we have visible here, and we can add in as many as we want. And then basically the code is checking, is it in the list? Does the list prime contain the number that Scratchcat is saying? We could do other different games as well, where perhaps you had to type in a number that you think is prime and it checks it for you. Again, there's lots of advanced things in there. The only issue here is that we have to type the primes in ourselves and we might make a mistake. If you check out more on my more advanced video, you'll see how we can actually populate this primes list ourselves, but that is more advanced. All right, so there you go. That's our prime list game. I hope you enjoyed having a look at how to make that. It's a really simple game. You can do this right down to 7 and 8 year olds. They'll be able to have a go at this if they've used Scratch before, following the step-by-step guide. And it's a nice way to play a game in class to test how well you know your primes. Thanks for checking in. See you soon.